Alright, I finally found a good reason to use my Bellroy Travel Carry-On Luggage, because this week I will be working at a client with my mobile editing station, which not only includes a MacBook Pro but also a dual screen monitor, a bunch of drinks because I am picky with coffee, I need water, so about 2 liters of liquids in the bag, cables, SSDs, a Thunderbolt dock, speakers, headphones, so a lot of gear that I have to lug around. And initially I thought I put everything in the Black Ember Forge, and it does fit in the Black Ember Forge, but that bag became so heavy that I thought, hey, you're over 40 now, why don't you roll your stuff? Enter the Bellroy Travel Luggage. That is a carry-on bag, but it is an amazing equipment luggage option. Alright, I'm now on my commute to the office. Let's set the stage so that you know what I'm carrying and why I'm carrying it the way I do. So I am a freelance film editor, for those who don't know, and I'm currently having a project where the client wanted me to edit in their offices. The people that are working there usually work either on their laptops or on desktops that are not set up for editing, and I obviously want to edit on not only my setup but also a setup where I just know that this is working the way it is intended to work. So I bring my editing computer, which is the MacBook Pro M3 Pro that I bought refurbished, but it's a 14-inch MacBook Pro. So I do need a couple of things, not only to make this computer work, but also to give me more monitor real estate. So in addition to the MacBook Pro, I am bringing the UPerfect Delta, I believe, dual screen monitor. By the way, I will link all of the items in the description below. Those are affiliate links. With those you won't pay more, but you will support this channel with a small kickback of that sale, and if you do so, thank you very much. So in addition to a MacBook and the dual screen monitor, which actually is much bigger than a 15-inch MacBook Pro, because I noticed I cannot fit it in most laptop slots of backpacks. So that is something to kind of keep in mind whilst I continue talking about what I have. I also carry a Thunderbolt 4 dock to connect my dual screen monitor, but also a couple of SSDs. I carry a bunch of cables to connect everything. Then I have a Bose speaker system, my mechanical keyboard, because I will be working long days, so I like to use my knock-free split keyboard because it's much more ergonomically friendly on my wrist. My Logitech MX Master, power for my MacBook Pro, power for the Thunderbolt dock, and the monitor as well. So I have a couple of things that I need to power. Therefore, I also carry my own power strip because I never know what kind of power outlets I have available. And I have this power strip that also has like this fuse, just to be safe if I kind of overpower that power strip, just to protect all of my devices. I have headphones if I need to edit in an office where people are around me, and that was actually the case. I have the Sennheiser HD25. What else? I bring my own coffee because most of the time in these bigger offices the coffee isn't that great. So that is about 700 milliliters of liquid. Then I bring my lug water bottle that I also fill up in the morning before I leave home, because I sometimes forget to drink in the beginning. I have liquid lunch if I don't have the time to go out for lunch. That is also again 500 milliliters, and I'm telling you that because all of these liquids inside those aluminum bottles already add 2 kilograms of weight, so keep that in mind. And what else do I bring? Also my extended EDC, my Bellroy pencil case as a boo-boo kit. So all of the stuff that I also usually carry anyways inside my work backpack. So all of that did fit in the Black Ember Forge. Okay, maybe not the, as I said, the UPerfect dual screen monitor. It's bigger than a MacBook Pro 16-inch, I would assume, because it doesn't fit in the laptop slot of my Black Ember Forge, which has a huge laptop compartment. Actually, the Black Ember Forge actually fits 2 laptops. So if that monitor would have been smaller, I I could have fit everything inside the Black Ember Forge. And besides the monitor, I was able to fit everything in the Black Ember Forge. However, that bag became so heavy and unwieldy that I thought, okay, I can carry this, but I need to park a little bit further away from the office. So carrying all of that to the office from the parking spot, I would arrive totally exhausted and sweaty in the office, and I didn't want to do that. So I thought, okay, what would be an alternative? And then I thought of the Bellroy travel luggage, because not only is this a hard case and I can roll it, so it would kind of take away all of that weight from my shoulders, but more importantly, the Bellroy has these internal packing cube which make it great to kind of organize all of these smaller items like my headphones, the speaker, the Y-food, liquids, and yeah, all of that would be able to kind of sort away inside those packing cubes, in addition to that separated main compartment where I store the monitor, a couple of pouches from Gura Gear with my Thunderbolt dock, the power strip, all of those bigger items I stored in that main compartment, and then the smaller items in those internal cubes on the other side. And that made it so perfect for organizing all of those pieces of equipment inside the Bellroy case. And that is amazing. I loved using and utilizing all of those items inside that Bellroy rolling luggage. Alright, let's go over this setup real quick again. MacBook Pro M3 14-inch, which is why I have another monitor. This is the UPerfect dual screen monitor, which is amazing. This is only HD and probably not as bright, so it's not an editing monitor per se. It holds everything like the project window, bins, so text-based and not color-critical images. So usually I use this to edit and sort my bins, and then have the MacBook Pro screen for looking at what I'm editing. But fortunately, the company also gave me this big ISO monitor, so I have a bigger screen. Then my mechanical keyboard, my Evergoods Cap 2 with all of the cables, SSDs, a Bose speaker, this little stand from Next stand, a power strip, then a Thunderbolt 4 dock, plus these insulated water bottles, so one from a coffee and one from Lark for water, headphones. And yeah, as you can tell, that is a lot of stuff that I need to carry around. And as I said, everything fits in the Black Ember Forge, but also would fit easily into the Bellroy Carry-On Luggage. So now you probably ask, okay, if you can put everything in the Bellroy Carry-On Luggage, why don't you just put everything in there? A very simple answer, because that is a carry-on luggage, and it's basically intended to kind of stuff everything in there and then have it in the overhead compartment when you are in the plane, right? So you don't have easy access without completely folding open the bag and then getting to your stuff. So inside the office, if I would want to get like a power bar or the DJI Pocket 3 to quickly vlog, I would need to take everything out and kind of place it on my desk and then put the luggage somewhere in the corner so it's not in your way. So for that reason alone, I rather have also a backpack where I can quickly access some items that I want to access quickly. Plus, the Bellroy doesn't have like a proper laptop case, and because I have so many heavy and hard items, I don't want to kind of squish my laptop in between all of those items that potentially could create like pressure points against the laptop. That is why, in addition to everything that is inside the Bellroy case, again, I could fit everything in there, but I also bring the Black Ember Forge, so that is for my laptop, and also those small bits and pieces like energy bar, my water bottle and stuff like that, that I want to access quickly and kind of store away in a pinch when I kind of want to have my desk a little bit empty. Again, with the Bellroy, everything inside, but if I want to kind of access it during the day, there's no quick access pocket, so I would have to take everything out so it doesn't kind of stand on the ground in my way. So yeah, that is the setup with these two bags. All right, just got back home from work. It's about to be a weekend, so I packed everything. I put all of the equipment back into these bags because I didn't want to leave all of my gear at the office. So I think this is a good time to kind of do what is called a debrief, a verdict about these two bags and the setup that I was running. I have been recording all of these segments for this video over the span of at least 2 weeks. I kind of want to switch up the bags. So the project isn't over yet, but I kind of want to switch some of the bags, at least the Black Ember Forge, not this one, for a couple of reasons. But because I've recorded this video over multiple days in a couple of weeks, I potentially will repeat a couple of the things that I've already been saying in this video. So please excuse if I kind of repeat myself. But after these couple of weeks, I can kind of give you a really good verdict and recommendation about this kind of setup. As I've said, this is a mobile editing setup with a lot of moving parts and a lot of heavy parts. Not only the editing system by itself, but hubs, cables, but also a dual screen monitor, the UPerfect dual screen monitor. Again, I will link all of the items in the description below. Those are affiliate links. With those you won't pay more, but you will definitely support this channel, and honestly, a little bit of support is always highly appreciated. So the UPerfect Delta dual screen monitor is the MVP of this whole setup, because having a bigger real estate, I mean, these laptops, the MacBook Pro 14-inch is so powerful. I was editing, there was a phantom camera, 2 or 3 Arri Alexas, and then another camera that I don't really know. So a couple of really good cameras and a huge project. So this computer, the MacBook Pro M3 Pro, is a beast. But the monitor is small because I wanted the smaller computer to carry around. But obviously when you have to edit, a bigger screen, more real estate is extremely helpful and basically needed. So the UPerfect dual screen monitor has been one of the MVPs, but that is the reason why I needed to kind of use all of these two bags to haul around all of this gear. Everything that I mentioned besides the monitor, because it is fairly big, it's bigger than a 16-inch MacBook Pro, it didn't fit in the Black Ember Forge. That being said, I would have been able to fit everything besides the monitor into the Black Ember Forge. But as I mentioned in one of the segments, this would have been way too heavy. Even with less items, it's still very heavy, and being able to roll around everything inside this Bellroy rolling luggage has been a huge help. As I've said also in one of the segments, I would have been also able to put everything that is in the Black Ember Forge into the Bellroy travel luggage. But for one reason, the MacBook Pro wouldn't have been as protected as I would have liked, because there is no slot, and I would be very afraid that there would be some pressure points against my MacBook Pro. So I didn't want to put everything into this rolling luggage. Plus, without a quick access pocket to get to some of the items, like it is autumn, some of the people were coughing, so I wanted to get to my disinfectant. Getting to a power bar, getting to my DJI Pocket 3 is much more convenient with a backpack that is next to your desk instead of this, because to get to this, you kind of need to lay it out on the ground, suitcase style, right? It is a suitcase, and then open it up. It has a huge footprint, so you cannot kind of leave it open on the ground. So you have to unload everything, put this into a corner, and then kind of forget it. But then you obviously aren't able to get to your items faster. So having a backpack on the side is great. But as I said, in the next few weeks, I want to kind of switch the Black Ember Forge for a smaller backpack, because I can get most of the items into this rolling luggage. Now, the recommendation that I have is using a rolling luggage for equipment is an amazing idea. Not only because you can obviously use a bag, a piece of luggage, multi-purpose. Usually this types of luggage sits in your attic or whatever, gathers dust until your vacation. So why not utilize it to kind of carry around heavy equipment or gear in general for photographers? This kind of case would be great, with a big caveat. On one hand, this obviously then is dual purpose. Secondly, no one would kind of assume that there is expensive equipment in here. Because it's hard shell, everything is still protected. However, you need to pack modular. There's obviously not like in a pally case, not like in a photography gear bag, there aren't any kind of protective slots in here. For my use case, and I being a person that likes to pack modular, I have a lot of cases and stuff like that to utilize this. But I want to give a big recommendation on this Bellroy case because it has on this one side these internal packing cubes that are kind of mounted inside this second half of this case, so that not only gives you the opportunity to kind of organize, but more important, it uses the whole vertical space. So everything that you put and organize into these pockets, because the pockets are kind of anchored inside, you can basically ensure that nothing kind of drops to the bottom and potentially squishes some of the items. So I put in the top part my headphones that I obviously want to protect from being crushed or kind of pressured on. So them being in the top pocket kind of ensures that if I stand it like this, nothing kind of lays on top of those headphones to kind of pressure them. So that is a huge plus. On the main side of this compartment where I have the monitor and all of the other stuff, you need to pack modular with packing cubes. I used a couple of things like the cap 2 liters, like a Gura pouch for the Thunderbolt dock. So if you utilize pouches, these kinds of carry-on luggages are amazing for equipment. And if you go with this Bellroy traveling luggage, you already have 2 pouches that kind of organize your items perfectly on the one half of this suitcase. So for me personally, this setup for my mobile editing workstation, perfect solution. I love this. This rolling case is amazing. As I said, I probably kind of combine it with a different bag in the next few weeks to kind of test it out. But the Black Ember Forge, also an amazing bag. I love this. The front admin compartment is great to stuff your small items and actually organize everything in the vertical space. For me, that is a huge plus because all of the items have their place and nothing kind of bulks up at the bottom and kind of gets crushed by all of the weight, because there are so many slots organized vertically to kind of keep everything nice and organized. And the laptop compartment actually would be able to store 2 laptops. So if I would have had a smaller monitor, I actually could have stored a monitor and my MacBook Pro inside the laptop slot and then have everything else inside the main compartment. That is actually also expandable. But as I said, this would have resulted in a lot of weight that would be a little bit unwieldy. So this combination for my travel mobile editing workstation, amazing setup. So highly recommend the Bellroy travel luggage, or if you already have like a carry-on travel luggage, think about using that or utilizing that luggage maybe for your photography gear. You don't need to buy that pally case or that photography bag. Use your carry-on luggage, get some of those packing cubes, those padded cubes, those padded photography inserts, and just put them into your rolling luggage. And no one would kind of notice that it is about photography gear. So that's my recommendation. So yeah, thanks again for watching this potentially very long video, but I had a lot of blast kind of utilizing this case for something completely different, and I'm so happy that this will be used and won't just gather dust in my attic. And if you have any questions, comment below. If you want to see maybe my older mobile editing setup video, check out the video up here. YouTube thinks you like the video down here. If you watch to the end, maybe comment a camera emoji at the bottom so I know that you support this channel by watching the whole video. Maybe also then hype the video, that also helps a lot. Like it and help me to get to 70,000 subscribers by clicking the button up here. Thank you so much, and I see you in the next video.